Hey, welcome to the Bridge to Mastery. This is day number 102. That's right, you have shown up for over 100 days. You've already proven that you can do this. You've been there, you've done that, we're doing it today, and we're going to do it tomorrow. But this mini-series is designed to move us from consistency to capability and to expand our capacity. Yesterday we talked about self-efficacy, and today we're going to talk about what are those things that can steal, that can weaken, and can derail our self-efficacy. We're going to talk about those saboteurs. That's right. Hey, this is Dr. Dwain Woode. That's Wood with an E. The E stands for Endocrinology, and I'm so glad that you're joining me for my 100-day walk to consistency, but these bonus days as we move to a better place, a more consistent place, and we're moving from consistency, we're moving to mastery. Come on, let's go. I'll see you on the walk. So yesterday we talked about self-efficacy, which is the belief that I have the capability, I have the ability to make changes in myself, in my environment. I'm able to make decisions that ultimately will lead to success and lead for me to be able to chart and direct where I go and the success that I have. That's self-efficacy. But you know, there are a lot of people who don't succeed. And they say things like, I can't, I won't be able to, I'm not good at that. And the question that I ask sometimes is, do we think that people wake up and for the day that they go through, they say to themselves, you know, I'm going to do everything I can today to make things worse for my life. I'm not going to make any positive decisions today. I'm not going to learn anything today. And that's not the case. Most people, most people are interested in having a life that is relatively successful. Most people want to be good at what they do. Most people want to enjoy their lives. So the question is, if that's the case, and there is so much knowledge, so much information around, why do we have so many people that aren't succeeding? So many people that are doubting themselves? And the reason for that doubt is the list of things that sabotage and will steal our self-efficacy. You know, we say things like I said, we can't do that, or I never succeed, I never get anything done. I'm never able to complete what I want. And maybe the reason that this happens is not because they don't want to, but because they may not have belief. Nothing has ever proven to them that they're able to. And so we're going to talk about 6 saboteurs, and identifying these saboteurs, understanding these saboteurs, knowing that these saboteurs are there will allow you and give you power over them. Then you can begin thinking to yourself, how do I go about fixing this one? How do I go about averting this? How do I go about not letting it steal my success? Because if it does, if it's able to cause doubt, if it's able to put a chink in the self-efficacy armor, and you allow that to grow and fester, then we put ourselves back into the space where our success is so dependent on other people, is what we say, right? And we say that too, you know, it was their fault. They didn't allow me to do that. I was not able to do it because, right? And so I want us to now take that back, because one of the pillars of limitless living is that we're not allowing things to happen to us anymore. That's not how it's going to go. We are moving in a direction that will give us the best possibility of success, and we are taking over. We're doing it ourselves. We're not relying on anybody else to do that for us, okay? I just got some noise nearby, so let me do something here really quickly. I'm gonna move my mic up just a little bit because there's some construction going on right nearby. Okay, Actually, let's go down this way. I am back. This is a relatively new space that they are building. This is, there used to be a mall around the corner, and they've torn that down years ago now. And so they're just really rebuilding this area. And I love it. I love coming out and walking, and there's lots of stuff going on. So anyway, so this is where I am. So let's talk about the saboteurs. And the first one is repeated failure without reflection. Saboteur number one, repeated failure without reflection. Now, you heard me use a word there, and we're going to take exception to that word. And that's the first thing we want to do. Remember our concept of failure. We don't fail. We either succeed or we learn. We either succeed or we learn. So if I were to rephrase that, it is non-success without reflection, without evaluation. If we are going to, if we're going to avert this saboteur, we have to come to grips with the fact that things are not always going to go the way we planned. That we're not always going to achieve what we set out to do. That we will, and we'll talk in a minute about this, that we will make plans, we will set goals, and those goals may not end up the way we thought they would. And when that happens, the mindset that we have to have is what I just said, that we are not failing, we are simply learning from that experience. So either we've succeeded because we got what we wanted, or we are learning from that process. So when we try and we don't succeed, what most of us do is we kind of curl up and we retract. That's why a lot of people, for New Year's resolutions, right? Okay, this year I'm going to exercise. This year I'm going to eat better. This year I'm going to lose weight. So we have those lofty goals, and somehow during the year, from January 1, that's what is our plan, and now is December 31st, and that didn't quite go the way we thought it was going to go. And for a lot of people, what they end up doing is they'll change the goal, right? Or they say, well, New Year's resolutions never work for me, so I'm not going to set any resolutions this year. I'm just going to let the year happen. I'm just going to let it be. I'm just going to go, I'm a free spirit. Whatever the phrase is that we use when those things happen. But one of the most important things that we have to understand is that if we're going to succeed, then we have to evaluate when we are not successful. And remember, we said yesterday that one of the things that builds self-efficacy is repeated success. Repeated success. So if repeated success will build self-efficacy, then repeated failure, right, non-success, would be a natural thing to steal it and to kill it. But it's really not the fact that we didn't succeed that is the danger, is that we didn't succeed, but we never stopped to evaluate why that happened and learn from it. And so we end up doing another project, we end up doing another relationship, we end up doing another issue, get into another issue, and because we didn't learn from the last one, guess what? This one doesn't work out either. And so the inner critic takes that as another confirmation that we can't, that we won't, that we don't, it doesn't ever, right? Those are the phrases that we use. And that comes from us not looking and learning. So without reflection, those times when we don't succeed, they feel like proof of our inadequacy. And in fact, as I said, the inner critic will take that and it will file it away because it's just another chink. But if you sit down and you reflect and you evaluate, what you begin doing is you begin learning patterns. You begin seeing what are those places where you tend to always do that thing, like that. And so every situation that you're in, guess what? That comes with you because you've never learned. You've never reflected. You've never evaluated what's going on. And so that is one of the saboteurs, right? So the fix isn't just to try again, which is what we do. So New Year's resolution, and I'm supposed to be walking back this way. New Year's resolution didn't work, and guess what we do? Next year, okay, let's try again, but this time maybe we adjust the goal. Or let's try again, or we keep the same goal. We're gonna try harder this time. Last time I wasn't motivated enough. Last time I wasn't strong enough. Last time, right? But we don't know because we didn't evaluate. So we keep trying again. So the goal or the secret to success is not to try again. The secret to success is to evaluate and pivot and turn and change. Remember when we talked about smarter, right? Evaluate and revisit, retry, not retry, but revisit. So our goal when we talk about this saboteur is not to just keep trying. The goal is to learn, and when we learn, we get the benefit of having success. And that's another pin, another piece that says that, yeah, we do succeed, that we're good. The fix is to pause, to reflect, and then to learn. Pause, reflect, and learn. There's another one of those. Pause, reflect, and learn. Right? I like those three things. Pause, reflect, and learn. I just like this one. So make sure that you are not just allowing these amazing opportunities to learn go by, right? Don't just see them as, okay, I failed, but see them as a place where you can now stop this saboteur from taking over and destroying what you've done. The next saboteur is unrealistic expectations. Unrealistic expectations. So when we started our series last 102 days ago now, one of the very first things we talked about was the idea that we need to have goals that are realistic, right? So SMART was the acronym we used. Specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time-bound. That achievable part requires that we are setting realistic goals. When we have unrealistic expectations, the natural result of that is that we will have times when we don't succeed. I hope that makes sense. And I guess a point here to be made for those who will say that, no, you have to have unrealistic expectations. And this is not to throw doubt in the idea that we need to believe and we need to shoot beyond what we're capable of. That's not what this is talking about. This is talking about when you have, you're in a space and we're setting these SMART goals. Yeah, I want you to push. I want you to reach way beyond what you're even capable of, because we said that if the things that you're doing just requires you and you can do this all by yourself, then that's really not a goal that you should be shooting for. You need to be shooting for a goal where you need help, where you're expanding, where you're growing, right? So talk about unrealistic expectations. Let's do it. Make sense? But when we are in the process of making these goals smarter, we want to make sure that if we are setting those grand goals, if we are shooting for the stars, that we understand where that gets us. If we don't get there, don't allow the lack of reaching that goal to derail us. Understand that, yeah, we're shooting, and we may have shot for beyond, as we're expanding our thoughts, expanding our desires, expanding our thought, our abilities, that we're growing. And this doesn't mean anything about me being unworthy. And I think maybe that's I'm gonna do something here real quickly, turn this off. All right, I'm back. Had to move past the music that they were playing. Right, so unrealistic expectations. If you have unrealistic expectations and that fails or that doesn't succeed, don't take that as evidence that you are not good, that you are less than, or that is something that tells something about your ability to do the things that you want to do. That is not it at all. So use these, once again, as evidence that you need to stop and you need to evaluate. So we live in a world of before and after photos, right? So yeah, look at that. That's what's going to be like right there. That's what it's going to look like. And when we don't see that, when we don't get that, then we begin to doubt who we are. So the idea of self-efficacy thrives on data. And it thrives on real, honest data. And so just because you didn't achieve a particular goal is not an indication, right, that you are not to do that, to try that you are not beneficial, that you're not happy, or that you're not worthy of. I'm spending some time on this point because I want you all to get it. I want everybody to understand that where we are and what that means for us, right? You're doing something powerful just by still being here, for example, right? You're shooting for 109 days, right? When you started, maybe you thought that was unrealistic, but you did one day at a time. And you may have, over the course of these days, you may have dropped out and you came back. And maybe you missed a day here, but you came back. And you continued learning, continued growing, and continued moving in that space. So you're doing something powerful just by still being here on day 102, right? So silent killer number 2 is unrealistic expectations. Unrealistic expectations. And I'm pausing as I'm on a construction area, so kind of mapping out where I'm heading next. Let's see, let's walk over that way. Okay. All right. So unrealistic expectations. So that's number 2. Another one of those silent killers is the things that we see around us, right? Comparison. When we compare with other people, we are putting ourselves not in their shoes, but we're putting ourselves in their success without understanding their shoes. Oh, yeah, that one just came to me right there, right? So we want the success without understanding what it took to get there. And so we begin doubting ourselves because we don't look like they look. We don't have what they have, but not understanding that what it took to get that, we may not want to go through that. So a silent killer is comparing ourselves to other people, right? So we cannot do that. Your journey is a different one from theirs. Your journey, the space that you're in, is your space. And we grow within our space. We succeed within our space. Now, there is a place for the idea that in a particular industry, we are growing, we're building, everybody wants a nice house, everybody wants to advance in their career, and all of that is real. And sure, let's go for it, let's shoot for the stars. But understand that your journey is going to be your own journey. And so comparing yourself to other people will make you go to places that you shouldn't go. It'll make you think things that you shouldn't think. And it will make you doubt your capability when you shouldn't doubt it. So the scrolling that we do, looking at the highlight reels, all the things that we see, and we're like, man, and I've got to put my hands up, right? Because I do it as well. But I am learning more and more that my belief in my ability to control my destiny cannot be based on my comparison to other people and what they have. I'll tell you, when I first started this process of going live, being online, doing videos, there were people that I watched and I was like, man, how do I get there? How do I do this? How do I become like them? And I quickly learned, well, I shouldn't say quickly, but I learned by looking at, and I told you some of the mentors that I have, by looking at some of the people and listening to their words to me that says, your space is your space. And the people that are going to be interested in what you do, that's your tribe. And so don't change who you are fundamentally for them. Continue to live and continue to grow and continue to be who you are, and your tribe will be there. Okay? So your comparison does not serve you well, and it is another saboteur of your self-efficacy. So let's not do that. Another saboteur is the inner critic. Oh yeah. We talked about that inner critic just a little while ago. The inner critic is always there, always trying to find reasons to support failure. Always seeding doubt, always in the process of reminding us of the places where we were not successful, where things didn't go the way we thought they were going to go, where we couldn't succeed, we didn't complete. Inner critic. So listening to the inner critic, another one of the things that steals our self-efficacy. One of the strongest ways to deal with the inner critic is to strengthen our inner coach. And we will come back and do a segment on the inner coach because that is so pivotal to all the things that we do. Sometimes the issue is not, it is not a physical thing, it's in our head. Remember that negative self-talk that we do? It's in there. And that comes from that inner critic that continues to tell us that we're not going to be. And so how do we deal with the inner critic? Oh yeah, we provide proof, y'all. So where do you have proof? 100 days, 102 days. Here we are. Come on, critic. Take this. Come on, critic, take that. Come on, critic, tell me about something about this. Look at what I did. And so we will continue to strengthen the inner coach by providing the benefit of the success that we continue to have. Remember, that's what we're doing. Success, constant success, repeated success. And then sometimes it's not in our head. Sometimes it is physical. On my show, was it yesterday or day? The days are running together. I was tired. I fell asleep at work before I left work. I got in the car, drove home, got in the driveway, fell asleep in the car. And then as I was preparing for my show, I was in the process of falling asleep because I had stayed up late getting ready for some new things that we're doing. And I did not prioritize self-care. And so I was exhausted. I was physically tired. And when we're physically tired, guess what? Our belief in our efficacy goes down. Because at that moment, it is difficult for us to even think. We become less resilient. We become less resistant. We become less self-confident. And so it's natural for that moment, in that moment, for us to say we can't, we don't, it's impossible. So we want to make sure that we are prioritizing self-care as we move through the space of dealing with, and that's physical exhaustion, right? Just being tired. That's one that many of us suffer from. And then maybe it's not in our head, maybe it's not in our body, but it could be in our emotions. We are just exhausted. We're in burnout. We are emotionally done. We're emotionally spent. That can happen when we are tired, That can happen when our inner critic is at us. That can certainly happen when we allow our emotions to build without dealing with them. Oh yeah. That's a whole nother conversation. So this is kind of like a roller coaster, right? So when you get in a roller coaster, the idea is that that car is traveling along the rails, and it goes up and down and up and down and around, and it twists and it turns. But at some point in the roller coaster, there's always that place where that car begins to climb, and it's going higher because you see the peak, and it's coming down the other side of the peak, and you're watching it, and it's rolling, and it's twisting and turning, but it's heading for that peak, and you see it. And then it starts to climb ever so slowly, up, right? It slows down because it has to pick up enough energy to get you up to that peak. And then once it gets to the peak, y'all, guess what happens? It's coming down the other side with so much energy and so much force. And many times we watch the emotions. Things happen that we don't deal with. We have a conversation that we don't process. We have a interaction. We have a setback. We have a doubt. We have something that happens in our lives, and we don't deal with it. And each time that happens, the car is climbing, ever so slowly, but it's climbing. And it twists and it turns, but it's going up. And then it gets to the peak. And at the peak, for that, like that roller coaster, when it gets up there, guess what? You can't do anything about it. It's coming down the other side. You may jump and scream and shout and tell it to stop, but it's not going to stop. It's coming down the other side. And so just like that roller coaster, our emotions are like that. When we allow them to grow, when we allow them to build without processing, at some point, when it gets to the peak, it's coming down the other side, and it's blowing through all the safeguards, it's blowing through all of the processes that we've put in place if we don't process them. So our emotional state is one of the saboteurs of our self-efficacy. And our goal there is not to allow it to grow and fester without us doing something in processing where we are so that we can deal with that saboteur. We've got to, waiting to go across the street here, we've got to handle those. And limitless living, remember, we're not allowing anything from outside, and we're not allowing certainly anything from inside of us to prevent us from doing what we need to do to be successful. And I think that's 6. Actually, there's more than 6 of the saboteurs. But self-efficacy says that I can make changes, I can make decisions that can move and change my environment, change my momentum, change my ultimate altitude in where I go. And we want to make sure that we build our self-efficacy and we don't allow any of the saboteurs to steal that from us. Yes? Now, you know, we continue to build, and we've talked about all the keystone principles, and our goal right now is to move from the consistency, the habits that we've built, move from that space into mastering the things that we've learned. And so each day we are in the process of living limitless living. And I want you to remember what we talked about, right? You committed to living, having limitless living be your rhythm for your life. You committed to that. You said yes. And here in this space over the next several days, and as we do this mini-series, our goal is to make that better, to prepare us as we move from consistency into our next series. So join me as we continue to grow and as we continue to do that. So I want to, as we normally do, we're going to give you something to practice. I'm going to give you something to practice. So go ahead and grab your journal. Grab your journal. Let's go ahead and let's get started, okay? All right, so you want to ask yourself several things. I've got 3 questions for you. And the first question is, what one experience did you have that made you doubt yourself? That made you doubt your self-efficacy? That made you doubt that you had the ability to do what it takes to chart and regulate your destiny? What's one? Number 2, what would change if you saw that experience through your current eyes? Because we've grown, we've changed, we've built. So what would happen? What would change if you saw it through this experience, these eyes that you currently have? And what proof do you already have to say, I can keep showing up? I've done hard things. I don't give up. And how do those words change the thing that happened? All right? So what's going to happen? Now your challenge is to go back, revisit that, and say, okay, what would I do now? What would I change? And how can I use that experience to learn for the future? Hey. Oh, bridge to mastery. I love it. Because we are no longer becoming, we are now being. We're no longer working on, but we are now living. We're no longer in doubt, but we are in self-confidence, and we're no longer unsure of ourselves. We have self-efficacy based on data, based on 100 days, and now based on 102 days. Hey, this is Dr. Dwain Woode. Welcome. Thank you for being here. I'm glad that you've shown up. I'm glad that you continue to grow. I'm glad that you continue to be in this space, and we are moving in a positive direction. We're building on what we've learned. We're moving from consistency to capability. We're moving and we are building. We are on a bridge, and the bridge is taking us to mastery. We'll see you tomorrow on day number 103. Hey, this is Dr. Dwain Woode, and as we approach the end of our 100-day walk to consistency and health, I want to pause and invite you to look ahead. Because what we've built together is just the beginning of an even more powerful journey. Over the past 100 days, you've developed a habit. You've developed resistance, resilience. You've developed strength, and things that form the cornerstone of your success. Now, as we close this chapter, I'm excited to share that our next series is on the horizon that's going to build on everything that you've learned so far. In the upcoming series, we want to dive deeper into advanced strategies that harness your newly cultivated strengths, refine your mindset, and elevate your strategic thinking. Imagine transforming daily consistency into an unstoppable force that propels you to tackle even greater challenges with confidence. My vision for the next phase is simple: to empower you not only to sustain your current success, but to channel it into innovative strategies that drive you past these impacts that you've had to more lasting, more fulfilling impacts. We've explored how to leverage your inner strength and channel it into areas of leadership, creativity, and advanced personal growth. And we're going to go further. The habits you form are the foundation on which you can build a life of limitless potential. Every lesson, every win, every setback during the past 100 days has prepared you for what's next. Think of today as a bridge where the consistency and the discipline that you've mastered become a stepping stone towards a future when strategy meets mindset. In the next series, it's designed to help you integrate these principles to every aspect of your life, making your progress both sustainable and exponential. I invite you to stay tuned and actively participate as we embark on this new chapter. Reflect on your journey so far and consider the way that you can take these lessons to the next level. Let's step into the future together. Thank you for being part of this transformative journey. Your growth, resilience, and commitment are what this community needs. Get ready to embrace the next series, where your strengths, strategy, and mindset will propel you to even greater heights. Stay tuned, and I'll see you as we begin this exciting new chapter together.